Jaspreet Singh just showed the scariest office in America. No employee, no coffee break, no health insurance, no HR complaint. Just AI agents working 24 hours a day. One AI builds the website. One AI checks the work. One AI compares it against the specs. And somewhere in America, a six-figure white-collar worker still thinks the layoff email is not coming. That is the real warning. This is not science fiction. This is not 10 years away. This is the new desk job. A few hours ago, minority mindset broke down. The new Fed era. Sticky inflation. The June FOMC decision. The SaaS apocalypse. AI agents. And the iron and lumber shift. Jaspreet and his research head explained the market side. Broken economy is showing the street-level consequence. Because while the media says AI is creating productivity, ordinary workers need to ask a darker question. Productivity for who? If a company can replace a software subscription with a custom AI workflow, if it can replace a junior developer with an agent, if it can replace a support team with automation, if it can replace a research assistant with a prompt, then the job market does not collapse loudly. It evaporates quietly. Hiring freezes first. Then contractors disappear. Then entry-level jobs vanish. Then middle managers wonder why nobody is replacing the people who left. And by the time the worker understands what happened, the department is already gone. Welcome back to Broken Economy. Today, we are decoding the AI desk job purge. Not as a tech hype story, not as a Wall Street earnings story, but as a survival warning for ordinary workers. Because the economy is now attacking the middle class from both sides. On one side, Kevin Warsh and the Federal Reserve are trapped by inflation. Rates cannot fall easily. Debt stays expensive. Credit cards remain brutal. Mortgages stay painful. Business financing gets tighter. And households keep waiting for relief that may not come. On the other side, AI is giving corporations the perfect tool to cut labor. High rates create the pressure. AI provides the blade. And the white-collar worker becomes the line item. That is the new economy. Now let's start with the Fed trap. Markets wanted cuts. Households wanted cuts. Real estate wanted cuts. The stock market wanted cuts. The government wanted cheaper debt. But inflation is still not dead. Energy shocks do not disappear overnight. Oil moves through diesel. Diesel moves through trucking. Trucking moves through groceries. Energy moves through fertilizer. Fertilizer moves through food. Food moves through every household budget. That is why the Fed cannot simply declare victory. Even if the headline improves later, the cost shock can move through the system for months. This is the long tail of inflation. The pump hits first. The grocery store hits next. Then logistics. Then manufacturing. Then margins. Then layoffs. That is how inflation travels. So when people expect the new Fed chair to immediately rescue the market, they may be dreaming. Warsh has to defend credibility. If he cuts too early and inflation comes back, the dollar weakens. If he holds rates high, debt pain continues. If he hikes, markets can break. If he cuts, prices can run. That is stagflation pressure. Slower growth, higher costs, no clean exit. And in that environment, companies do not act generous. They cut, they automate, they replace, they delay hiring, they stop backfilling roles, and that is where AI enters. Now let's talk about the SaaS apocalypse. For the last decade, software companies had one of the best business models in the world. Charge monthly, add seats, raise prices, expand into every department, sales software, payroll software, HR software, ERP software, support software, analytics software, project management software, dashboards, subscriptions, more seats, more renewals, more recurring revenue. Wall Street loved it because predictable subscription revenue looks beautiful in a spreadsheet. But AI agents are attacking the logic underneath the seat-based software model. If a company can use AI to build internal tools faster, if a team can automate workflows directly, If a founder can replace 3 SaaS subscriptions with one AI-based process, then some software margins become vulnerable. This does not mean every SaaS company dies. That would be too simple. The strongest platforms may adapt. The best data-rich companies may survive. Mission-critical systems may stay. But the weak, overpriced, seat-based, workflow-light software products are in danger. Because companies are now asking, why am I paying thousands every month for tools that an AI workflow can partially replace? That question is dangerous, not only for software stocks, for workers. Because if software gets compressed, the labor around that software gets compressed too. Sales teams, support teams, implementation teams, customer success teams, junior developers, operations analysts, report builders, documentation workers, entry-level software jobs. When AI reduces the need for the tool, it reduces the need for the people attached to the tool. That is the hidden second-order effect. The market looks at SaaS valuations. The worker should look at job security. Now look at the AI workstation. This is the psychological turning point. A computer, no person. AI agents working through tasks. One agent builds. One agent reviews. One agent compares against the target. No sick days. No health insurance. No overtime. No office politics. No payroll tax. No lunch break. No emotional burnout. From the company's perspective, that is not just productivity. That is labor arbitrage. The old outsourcing model moved jobs overseas. The new AI model removes the person completely from certain workflows. That is why coding bootcamps are under pressure. That is why entry-level white-collar work is in danger. That is why junior roles may vanish before senior workers fully notice. Because entry-level workers used to be paid to do imperfect work and learn. Now companies may ask AI to do the imperfect work faster. Then they ask a smaller number of senior humans to supervise. That breaks the career ladder. If the bottom rung disappears, how does the next generation become senior? That is the desk job trap. AI does not need to replace every expert tomorrow. It only needs to remove enough junior and mid-level work to make the career path unstable. And that is already happening across parts of software, marketing, support, research, and administration. Now compare this to physical work. Here is where the story gets uncomfortable. For years, white-collar workers looked down on physical labor. Driving, delivery, plumbing, electrical work, fudge, repair, warehousing, construction, mechanics, fieldwork. They called it low status. They called it sweaty. They called it replaceable. But now, AI is proving something different. The easiest jobs to digitize are often the jobs already sitting inside a computer. If your entire output is text, code, reports, tickets, dashboards, emails, slides, and digital workflows, then AI can get very close to your desk. But if your job requires touching physical reality, the barrier is higher. A box still has to be moved. A pipe still has to be fixed. A wire still has to be run. A tire still has to be changed. A delivery still has to reach a door. A building still has to be cooled. A data center still needs electricity. A chip still needs materials. AI can write the plan, but the physical world still demands execution. This does not mean physical labor is safe forever. Robotics will come. Automation will continue. Self-driving will keep advancing. But right now, the white-collar world is discovering that being digital was not only convenient, it was also exposure. The desk was not a fortress, it was a target. Now connect this to Chris Corner's sweaty, ugly income idea. The last episode showed the same direction. Clean work is not always safe. Ugly cash flow can be more durable. AI setup for local businesses, service businesses, repair, rentals, local logistics, small assets, physical bottlenecks, things tied to real-world demand. Now minority mindset adds the investment layer, iron and lumber. Not literally only iron and lumber, The point is the physical bottleneck behind the AI boom. AI needs data centers. Data centers need power. Power needs grid infrastructure. Grid infrastructure needs copper. Cooling needs water. Chips need materials. Nuclear needs uranium. Energy needs real assets. Cloud intelligence still needs physical inputs. That is the contradiction. The AI economy looks digital, but the winning bottlenecks may be physical. Electricity, land, water, copper, cooling, nuclear, pipelines, transformers, industrial capacity. If everybody rushes into AI software stocks, the smarter money may ask, what does AI consume? What can AI not generate from a prompt? What physical resources become scarcer as intelligence becomes cheaper? That is the iron and lumber mindset, not hype, bottlenecks. In a world where software gets compressed, physical constraints may become more valuable. Now, this is not investment advice. Do not hear nuclear and run blindly into a ticker. Do not hear copper and chase a chart. Do not hear hard assets and ignore risk. The point is not to blindly buy commodities. The point is to understand the direction of pressure. If AI reduces the price of digital work, then the value may rotate toward what AI cannot cheaply produce: energy, materials, infrastructure, field execution, trusted local service, physical distribution, asset control. That is the strategic lesson. Now, let's return to the worker. If you are sitting at a desk, what should you do? First, do not panic. Panic is not a strategy. Second, stop lying to yourself. If your work is repetitive, digital, template-based, and easy to check, AI pressure is coming. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in one dramatic layoff, but through hiring freezes, tool consolidation, smaller teams, higher output expectations, less junior hiring, more contractor cuts, do more with less. That is how it arrives. Third, move closer to judgment, relationships, physical execution, or ownership. AI can generate, but someone still has to decide. Someone still has to sell. Someone still has to own the customer. Someone still has to operate the field process. Someone still has to handle messy reality. Someone still has to manage risk. Someone still has to control assets. Do not only learn tools, learn the business problem. Do not only become an AI user, become the person who can connect AI to revenue, cost savings, customers, and real-world execution. That is the difference. The person who prompts is replaceable. The person who owns the outcome is harder to replace. Now, what does this mean for the Fed and the economy? It means stagflation gets uglier. If inflation stays high, rates stay high. If rates stay high, companies cut costs. If companies cut costs, AI adoption accelerates. If AI adoption accelerates, white-collar labor weakens. If white-collar labor weakens, consumer spending slows. If consumer spending slows, while energy and food remain high, households feel squeezed from every direction. That is the loop. Higher costs, tighter credit, AI, labor compression, weaker income security, more pressure to invest or build side income, more people forced toward ugly cash flow. This is why broken economy keeps returning to the same message. Labor alone is getting more fragile. Clean labor is not always safe. Digital labor is not always protected. And white-collar status may be one of the biggest illusions of the next decade. Now go to the comments and tell us the truth. If you work at a desk, have you seen AI quietly reduce hiring, shrink teams, cut contractors, or freeze junior roles? Are people in your company using AI to do work that used to require a person? Do you feel safer in a digital job or a physical job? And if you had to build a defensive income stream today, would you choose AI tools, local service businesses, hard assets, energy, materials, or cash? Also, what do you think the Fed does on June 16 to 17? Cut, hold, hike, or delay, while the middle class keeps paying? Minority mindset explained the macro shift. Broken economy is showing the pavement level warning. AI is not just coming for software companies, it is coming for the shape of work itself. And in the next economy, the safest asset may not be a desk. It may be whatever AI still cannot touch. Subscribe to Broken Economy for more clear analysis of finance, technology, markets, labor, and the real economy behind everyday life. Stay awake. The office is being automated. The pavement is still real.